to Barbell Brigade. I'm Gio.
What's up, guys? Charlie.
Lou.
Silent Mike.
He didn't do the and anymore. Are you proud of him?
Yeah, comma,
I did it for
comma,
you.
and.
It's like, yeah,
I did it
calm
for
down.
you.
You didn't even do the and. You
And
threw the
Silent.
whole
Oh
thing.
wow, bro.
And Silent Mike here. Back to our question.
Hey. All right. Can more? What?
Everyone's
you guys
flexing.
were doing
I don't know
it?
what he was doing. I was mocking him. I wasn't keeping him.
Well, I was just trying
It's
to
like the
stay
Wonder
with
Woman
team.
thing.
I
That
just
Or the-
need,
or
I
the
just
ice
need
cream.
popcorn right now to watch you guys.
Or the ice cream paint job.
What?
That.
You don't know that dance?
No.
John Wall. Where you guys
You're
living
way
under
too cool for me, dude.
I don't know any. I
know.
can't
It was
dance.
probably like 6 years ago.
All right. So, can more reps and sets with barbell movements replace cardio?
Oh yeah, like a barbell complex. Yeah,
What is all
yeah.
that?
Sets of
Just
20.
let me know.
Yeah, I agree. Next topic.
No, really.
I think if
Yeah,
it's
I
just
do
like
agree.
I think if it's just like a rep set scheme, like I'm just gonna do like 10 sets of 10. I don't think it's gonna be equivalent.
What if you did 3 sets of 20 on squats at 50%, 45%? Buddy, you're done for.
I mean,
You're
At
done
20?
for. R.I.P.
Fuck
Lou.
yeah.
Bye-bye, Lou.
It'll be like high intensity interval training almost.
Yeah. That's what I
That's
mean.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And that's what a lot of people do.
And that's what it sounds like.
It's the
to me.
dumbest thing ever, but it goes back to
I
goals.
think that there's
What are your
a-
goals?
I think it depends on your goals.
Because if your goals are to get like a really high aerobic capacity for a marathon,
it's not,
maybe
it's
not.
not.
True,
Yeah.
true.
It could
Maybe,
help.
maybe yes.
It could help. But
Because of-
to run a marathon, you got to run somewhere.
But it just depends.
What if you're
on-
running with weight?
I'm in. Weight vest.
Weight vest.
Yeah, but I do think barbell complexes are very popular. A superset's been around forever, which is
Yeah.
kind of the same idea. Maybe you go to a row, to an upright row.
We
to
did
a-
bro fit yesterday. With
We
Barb.
bro fitted out. We had 4 different.
What's a bro fit?
It's actually Circle RC by Bart Kwan. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of him. He's a very popular guy.
Who?
Bart Kwan.
Okay.
Bartholomew
I'll write it down.
Queasy.
I'll write it down. I'll look them up later.
Basically, he just does giant sets, and so sometimes they're barbell, sometimes they're
Yeah,
dumbbell.
he said giant set yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
what the
What's
hell am I
what's a
getting
giant
into?
set?
So typically, a superset is 2 exercises
Like
go
a
back and
super
forth.
duper
Then all of the equipment's really high. Where only a giant can reach it. Yeah.
Then I'm good.
And then we just did like, I think it's anything over 3 exercises. Because 2 would be a superset, 3 would be a tricep. Anything over that would be a giant
It
set.
was like, yeah, 4 exercises, 10 reps. And I think we went through it 3 to 4
That's
times.
super
I think it was 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times,
I'm
yeah.
doing the same shit.
Yeah.
So I do think it can help for conditioning, especially it's a great way to condition if you're more of a strength athlete, strongman weightlifting, CrossFit powerlifting, because then you're still kind of being semi-specific.
Yeah.
But if you're, or even other sports too, and like your off-season basketball player, rugby player, something, just to get some extra work in under load. Moving under load's a lot harder and shows a lot more flaws than not moving under load.
Yeah, I think that if you're looking at it as a conditioning aspect, it totally can exist. But I also think that if you're looking at your programming, regardless of the athlete, like, okay, I need a condition today, what do I need to do? If you are mobilized enough to where you can get right into your workout where you don't need sort of that stimulant like the treadmill or jog or whatever to get you warm, if you're looking at your workout, like right now off the top of my head, if I were to put together a workout where there would be 1-to-1 work rest ratio, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna work for a minute and then rest for a minute, and then you move 4 different movements. You could do like super light squats, deadlifts, maybe like a push press, and then maybe some other sort of a pull. And then from there, or you can go like 1 minute on, and so it's work to half rest. And so with that, I think that it's safe using that as a conditioning aspect, as long as increased of reps, you're not negating form. Obviously, everyone always talks about that, but one of the problems is that I've talked to other athletes about this. When something is light, you don't always respect it, specifically if you're looking at it in conditioning aspects. So
Put some respect on it.
put
That's
some
what you're
respect
saying.
on it, yeah.
Yeah,
So
put some respect on my weights.
Are we lifting or are we training?
Yeah,
so,
we done.
So basically, what I'm looking at right now is that what I'm getting at is like, okay, say you're running suicides like in basketball, like you play basketball or you're running 50s for football, whatever it is. At that point, if it's just strictly conditioning, form doesn't really matter. What
Yeah.
matters is pushing your respiratory and like punishing yourself.
Yeah.
The problem is if you take that mentality, so here's what I'd be warning against. If you are gonna use strength and conditioning like a barbell cycling for your conditioning aspect, don't push yourself so far into that conditioning modality to where when you're doing those reps, all of a sudden it becomes like, fuck, I just have to get 7 more, right?
That's a great point.
That's somewhere where I think that it could be a negative way for training if you're using barbell for more of your conditioning aspect, is when you get into that, like, I call it the no man's land, right? The like, think slow, or think slow, breathe slow, like kind of moving. That's where I think you have a big issue.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
100%.
I think it's just also like you were saying, it has to be very specific. Like I think for general purposes, like maybe timed exercises will be good. But I think that the biggest issue is with beginners, as far as like their form breaking down. Like
Specifically when tired.
Yeah, it's gonna lead to injury, and I think that's like kind of what Charlie was saying. It's just like, if it's for a beginner, I don't think it's too much of a good idea, because these movements take a lot of practice and a lot of form work. So if you're a beginner or you're just trying to get into fitness, it's not really ideal. Maybe basic stuff, just like
Choose simpler exercises.
yeah, the treadmill might be good.
Or even but like a dumbbell row. It's gonna be a lot safer than a deadlift.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
so you can do something like that for time.
And that's where I would say, like, the only thing you would have to focus on, and I guess just to drive that point home, is that yes, it can be, but just like anything, you would have to do it in the right way. And so when we're looking at conditioning, when I think about conditioning, the aspect is that if you train in the aerobic, you only gain aerobic, that pathway, right? You only gain aerobic. To train in the anaerobic, you can develop your anaerobic pathway and your aerobic pathway. But to get into the anaerobic, that's no man's land. Everything starts falling apart and you're pushing so hard you don't know what's going on. If you do that with barbell, there's just a higher opportunity for injury to set.
Of course.
You guys agree?
Anaerobic pathway means that the lack of oxygen, and it means quick bursts of energy. Aerobic means there's oxygen involved in our blood, in our energy system, and we're doing longer terms of exercise, more like 20 seconds or more.
That's great. You should have your own segment.
Yeah. I
Where you
forgot
wear glasses
sometimes
and a lab
forget
coat.
that.
yeah.
Thank you,
That's
honestly,
great.
thank you for
Charlie
explaining
does
that.
a lot of this stuff, so he's used to it.
That's
Yeah.
great, because a lot of people are probably like, we're talking to everyone in different stages of their, their
Fitness, yeah.
fitness. So I think it's great that we touch
Yeah.
upon
Yeah,
like
look-
these details, because for us, like you said, I think in a previous episode, is we are so far out of the loop now that we don't see it the way the normal.
It's hard. But we're on the internet, bitch.
Yeah, just Google or check out metabolic pathways. It's the pathway in which you would train for how you're affected through stimulus such as exercise.
So what should one be
That was
doing?
very proper. One.
Be doing between their sets.
Instagram does.
I was just saying.
Snap.
End video.
Snap. Watching YouTube.
No, really.
Whatever you want. I guess as a power lifter.
I think like what is it?
As a power lifter, I chill.
Why?
Because heavy weights, whatever, you got to get amped, you got to focus, you got to get up. You can't always stay up, so you got to have down. So I down between reps, get focused, get ready, and go. If I'm conditioning, then you're kind of numbed out, and maybe you do something like a active type rest, where you're heavy squat day, and then in between you're doing like side lateral, something like unrelated, but you're still moving, keep your heart rate up. Otherwise, I'm 100% chill mode.
I mean, I feel like I agree with you completely. Like I see people pacing around all the time if they're powerlifting.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see them even screaming, and that's actually gonna tax you as well. So I usually tell people to sit down, maybe drink some water, stay hydrated.
Step one, when I go into the gym, I'll throw a hip circle on and start warming up, and I'll
Yeah.
find a bench and I'll drag it to wherever I'm working so I can sit down in between every single set.
Yeah, I try to find a place also to kind of sit down. Or sometimes like if I'm feeling like really tight or tired, I'll like roll out a little bit in between sets,
Yeah,
just
but
to
you're
get-
laying down.
Yeah, but I'll be laying down for the most part.
For me, I guess it's like my primary focus for that training session. So like I'm thinking about how I answer it. So if that session for me is multiple workouts where it's going to be some form of conditioning, some form of strength, some form of gymnastic, within each one of those, the working sets would be different. So if it's in conditioning, if I'm resting in between sets, I'm supposed to be back on the bar. So it's either convincing myself to pick it back up or it's just trying to breathe. If it is something strength related, for me, between those sets, I'm trying to focus on what my end goal is for that working weight or for that set. If it's something in gymnastics, I'm trying to remind myself about body awareness or positional cues that I could give to myself to where I can maintain the biggest output for what it is that I'm trying to do. And so for me, that's more in the regards of like training. Now, the funny thing is that what is most commonly done and done by me and all of us is finding the next song you want to listen to hype yourself up
That's true.
for like the bench press.
Yeah.
And whether people listen to music or not, you can't tell me there's been a time in the gym where you need to get a set done, and in between that set you're like, all right, DMX, ride or die, whatever it is, right? Like you're trying to fire yourself up. Or it could be seeing something like, and I'm saying this because Mike's here, but a lot of times, like at the national championships, I was probably the only weightlifter there watching a powerlifting video before I went out and competed. So during my set, I was just getting myself in the zone. So there's a video, whether it's the fuck your elbow video or like it's a speech on greatness or those different things. It depends on what I'm trying to get out of my body. So sometimes I need to be chill. Sometimes I need to encourage myself through like motivation of seeing what it is I want to accomplish. And so I think that if you look at your training session, maybe this is a great way to answer this as well, is focus on your training session at what is the goal at hand. Yeah. That would then dictate what you should be doing on your rest. Because the days that you're supposed to be focused, if you're screwing around, you're not going to be accomplishing your goal. The days where it's a little bit more relaxed and you're super focused, you're not having fun.
Yeah.
So I think looking at your training session is going to dictate what you should be doing towards your rest in between your sets.
Yeah, my training environment's a little bit different than I think anyone else in the world, just because I'm either
Really?
Yeah, I'm like constantly spotting or loading, or I'm constantly filming. Right,
Yeah.
so like if there's 4 guys on a
Is music kind of loud in there?
yeah,
and a
music's
bunch of
really
cameras?
fucking loud, really fat guys running around. So we'll say we're squatting. That means there's 4 of us per bar maybe, often, and that means like 2 spotters and loaders. One guy's going, and then the other guy's filming the guy.
Yeah.
And on the same note of like listening to your music, or we're kind of joking about Instagram, but not really. We'll also be watching our lifts in between.
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to do 515, I just took 395 and I fucked up. I need to watch what I fucked up. Kind of like you were talking about your gymnastics or whatever. You were trying to find a cue while I'm watching myself what I fucked up or didn't fuck up.
Where did I get loose?
So I can
what
do
happened?
better.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's really important that you mentioned is like, and that's something that I don't really pay attention to, but at least me, when I'm in between my sets, like I really try to focus on what I'm doing wrong or what I can do better. Or I just try to mentally, like, I like to use a lot of imagery to see myself, like, run the movement through my mind and make sure that I'm doing it right. And I think it's a really important skill that not only you could use in training that's going to help you improve, but it's also something that you can use in competition as well, you know? Like, you want to mentally run that through and see yourself doing that, because if you don't, most of the time, it's going to be you failing. You know, like, I think the mental, at least as far as, like, the mental capacity for you to imagine yourself doing something and to kind of collect yourself and control your nerves is something that you could do in between your sets. Or if you're working with a lot of people, like I know our environment can be like, it could be a bunch of us, or sometimes it could just be one of us. Like if you're by yourself, just imagine yourself, but if you're training with somebody else, like see what they're doing, help them adjust or change something and stuff. So those are the things that you can kind of do in between your sets as well.
Yeah, I think we all lose sight sometimes, or not us, but some people of that what we're doing is a skill. You see these videos of guys like pulling 800 pounds or whatever, and like, oh my God, that guy's just a savage, he's just strong.
No.
Like strength is a factor, but it's all a skill. So once you start to think it more like you guys spoke about, and then the other thing you said, how great it is to analyze yourself or help teammates or figure what you're doing wrong, watching video or whatever. Like that's why weightlifting, strength training translates to everything else. Like what do you do in life? Like you write an essay, then you edit it, you make sure what's better, and then you try to do better and grow upon that the next time, right? Like, or you wake up and you only work 2 hours this day, or you only got 2 things on your list done. Well, you review that, retest, go. Review, retest, go.
That's true.
Now, what about for someone that's a beginner that's kind of like not
Just give
familiar?
No, actually, I was gonna speak to that. So say someone that's new and they're just getting into training and they're like wondering, well, should I be doing X? Should I be eating? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that?
Because that's what you see on Instagram.
Instagram, right? Yeah.
Candy and like aminos.
Or
and
what supplements do I take, or how am I taking a rest? Is like, I'll say this. After being in training my entire life, pretty much, and working as a professional for 10 plus years, like I said earlier, I know my body. I know exactly what I need to do. What I need to do is different than all these guys, but there is one common denominator between those sets and between those reps, which is a focus on the task at hand. And so whatever you're doing, whatever your personality calls out of you, you should focus on whatever that is that's going to help you be successful in accomplishing your goal. So for some people, it's telling jokes. For some people, it's being completely quiet. I think that if you're new in this this journey, or like you're learning about strength training, you have to find the way that you operate the best, and it might change from every 3 years, 2 years, 1 year to where you are. I used to be super crazy, and I talked, even last time I was here, I talked about how nuts I am. And as I'm getting a little bit older, all pre-workouts. As I'm getting a little older, I'm focusing on only doing that sometimes, like when I really need to, because what happens is that then you get stuck into this zone where you think that you need it, or you get to the zone where it's like, it will lead you to push past something that was smart to do, and you were just doing it because cameras are on, right?
Yeah.
Or something that's happening. So you have to learn your body, and as a beginner, just find a way to stay motivated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of people don't take what you do in between your sets and after, and even before, like pre-workout or post-workout. Like, a lot of people don't analyze like how they moved and the things that they did.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the top athletes always do that in between their sets. It's like, it's good to have fun, especially if you're just starting. Like, you want to have fun, but if you want to take it to the next level, it becomes definitely something more serious, where you kind of like just analyze everything that you're doing. You're running it over and over again through your head and stuff. And like, if you look at like all these top tier athletes, they're not like really messing around during the training. Kind of like you, the way I approach my training has definitely changed. Like, I love messing around and I'm always clowning around, but like during my training, I'm definitely a different person, because I'm trying to take it to the next level and become stronger, and I know that I need to focus in order to do that, and it's not so much about messing around, and that has changed, kind of like Charlie mentioned, like over the years.
Cool, yeah, I see you in the gym all the
Yeah.
time. Cool. Great advice, guys. So if there are any other questions that you guys would like for us to answer, please leave them in the comments below. Like the video, share it with all your friends, and
Deuce.
do you guys think that treadmills are a waste of time?
Hell yeah.
What?
I think they have their place.
Yeah.